All right, everybody. Welcome into Gnosis Time Domain. It is 5 o'clock. On my days off from work, I will be doing this every day at the exact time of morning. Try 11 o'clock. If you guys haven't noticed, there's a repeated schedule here that I do. Um, I'm gonna try to let everybody know my schedules on when I will be when I will be going in the evening. I'm gonna try to make a schedule and post it somewhere so you guys can see what's going on. So that way, in the future, you can come in and you can watch. All right. So I wish we could do that on Kick here, but it's a little bit different on Kick. But yeah, welcome all in. So I'm always looking at. I ended up looking at something earlier on Facebook, and it is the Facebook Reels. Okay. Now I'm gonna look at them later on tonight when I'm off of this. But I want to say something about Facebook Reels, okay? I don't really watch TikTok, okay? I barely browse through TikTok. But it is on that level of TikTok for me. Like, if I was to scroll through TikTok, I'd feel the exact same way. And if you haven't yet, go check out the video on the other channel, you'll see what I mean. But, like, there's a big problem here going on, alright? So, I'm seeing this a lot on the internet, and I'm noticing it as I even browse through the Reels today. Now, I'm not gonna insult anybody here who does it. By all means, do what you want. But, you know, as I've read the Bible, I've changed a little bit and I changed what I do. I don't touch these games back here that much, even though I love video games still. I'm gonna be getting back to it soon at some point. Like, I've just been kind of like in a spot where I'm trying to, I put a lot of effort into the Bible, which is something I wanted to do because I wanted to read it from beginning to end and make a channel blow up like that. But I've witnessed that while I am browsing Facebook Reels, okay? This is just something I picked up on, but like a majority of Facebook Reels has a lot of people cosplaying. And a lot of the people that are cosplaying are like they're like literally women in their I don't know how old they are, but they're women and they're like some of them are like in their 20s going into their 30s and stuff like that cosplaying and still, it's weird because being that you're on the internet, I've seen things where you kind of grew up with like certain YouTube people and you kind of see them now compared to the way they were like years ago. Now, um it's weird because it doesn't look like we even took a step forward. We stayed in the same position we are when we were like 20. Now, I'm one to talk. I'm wearing a Young Link t-shirt here because I love Legend of Zelda. But as for me, I used to have piercings in and all that, and I kind of drifted away from all that. And what I'm saying is here is like it's weird to see like, you know, and it's weird to see it, but like seeing women in their older 20s into their 30s still doing cosplay. It's a weird thing to see because when you're at that age, you're supposed to, you kind of drift away from being that way. At least that's what I've been used to and what I've noticed in myself. And the only reason I came back to video gaming is because I had nothing better to do, and I got back into video game hardcore. I thought I had a spot in the video game community. I didn't. I struggled. My other channel doesn't even pick up. I kind of left it go for what it is. But I put a video up over there of me reacting to all the reels, and boy oh boy, it was like it's excruciating to watch some of what those people do in those reels. Like there was literally this girl that got out of her car with a bikini and she started jumping on top of her convertible car to see how sturdy that was. That's the level. That's where we're at. And then there was so much other stuff I saw in there. I'm like, and all of them, the girl was like, "Oh, it's Valentine's Day and I'm not even dating." And I was like, "Well, if you take your vampire teeth out and stop dressing up like a vampire, then maybe you get a date out and maybe a guy would like stop, maybe you would stop attracting people too young for you." Just something I suggest to anybody who is still in that phase. If you're having trouble, like me, I have trouble. But I will say this. I don't lean towards like looking at cute girls in cosplay anymore because I'm too far old to be even considering that. And that is what we as adults should be reconsidering. Do we want to keep being clowns on the internet, or do we want to start growing and maturing and being full-grown adults? That's just something you got to ask yourself. And I stated it earlier because I reposted it, but the new Tomb Raider game came out, and it's a reminder of what video games used to be like. And it reminded me, and I said something that was like, we can blame anime for where we are now, kind of, because it just when you look at Tomb Raider as a whole, back then before anime became mainstream over here in America, we didn't have this like thing where we think a guy is a woman or get a gender confused. Back in the day when Tomb Raiders 1, 2, and 3 existed, we weren't questioning if people were a guy or a girl, what sexuality they were, you know? And now we're at that point now where, like, I'm not even, I know the ones I talk to are women, but it shouldn't get to the point where we have to question that stuff anymore, but it's gotten to that point. Like, I saw an actress who, like, I looked at her picture now, and she changed herself into a guy. I'm like, what is wrong with you? You were actually a very cute girl to begin with, and then you changed over to a guy. Very, very weird. Very weird if you ask me. And that's why I always say Satan runs the LGBTQ. The LGBTQ runs the political system. Just look at your facts. I did the research here last night. Just go ahead and look at that. But I wanted to get that out of the way because I sit here and I look at the internet throughout the day, and I see some really, really bizarre stuff. So we got to think about this. I'm 36 years old, okay? Um, and it's hard for me to just accept the fact that we are how we are today, and that's why, like, I get kind of upset because it's frustrating to see a whole group of people I grew up in an era with end up looking like clowns on the internet because they want to dress up they want to wear cat ears. They want to dress up like a character they see in an anime, and it's like, and I'm not insulting anybody who does that by all means, but if you're old enough, think about stepping away from that and trying to learn to do other stuff with your career because, I've seen, like, example, like Pokemon, she doesn't really correlate back to anime. She's trying to go into more of her adult skin and all that. That's something I picked up with her. And there's a lot of them out there that they're starting to get to that point where they're starting to change and transition and become different because they're starting to realize and see the side effects of what it's caused. And, that's something you got to think about. So, all right, chapter 10. The sun stands still. Chapter 10. Now, Adoni-Zedek, king of Jerusalem, heard that Joshua had taken Ai and totally destroyed it, doing to Ai and its king as he had done to Jericho and its king, and that the people of Gideon had made a treaty of peace with Israel and had become more allies. He and his people were very much alarmed at this because Gideon was a very important city, like one of the royal cities. It was larger than Ai, and all its men were good fighters. So Adoni-Zedek, king of Jerusalem, appealed to Hoham, king of Hebron, Piram, king of Jarmuth, Japa, king of Lachish, and Debray, king of Elgon. Come up and help me attack Gideon, he said, because it has made peace with Joshua and the Israelites. Then the 5 kings of the Amorites, the king of Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, and Gilon, joined forces. They moved up with all the troops and took up positions against Gideon and attacked it. The Gibeonites, then sent a word to Joshua in the camp of Gilgal. Do not abandon your servant. Come up to us quickly and save us. Help us because all the Amorite kings from the hill country have joined forces against us. So Joshua marched up from Gilgal with his entire army, including all the best fighting men. The Lord said to Joshua, "Do not be afraid of them. I have given them into your hand. Not one of them will be able to withstand you." After an all-night march to Gilead, Gilgal, Joshua took them by surprise. The Lord threw them into confusion before Israel, so Joshua and the Israelites defeated them completely. At Gibeon, Israel persuaded them along the road, going up to Beth Horon, and cut them down all the way to Azekah and Makkedah, as they fled before Israel on the road down from Beth Horon to Azekah. The Lord hurled large hail stones down on them, and more of them died from all the hail. They were killed by the swords of the Israelites. On the day the Lord gave the Amorites over to Israel, Joshua said to the Lord in the presence of Israel, "Sun, stand over Gibeon, and you, moon, over the valley of Ajalon." The sun stood still, and the moon stopped till the nation avenged itself on its enemies, as if it is written in the book of Jashar. The sun stopped in the middle of the sky and delayed going down about a full day. There has never been a day like it before, since a day when the Lord listened to a human being. Surely the Lord was fighting for Israel. That's wild to think. That's wild to think of, that the sun stayed up for like a 24-hour basis and then decided to go down. Just think about that. So it makes me wonder if the days back then were like way shorter than they are right now. Because when you think about it, if he's asking the sun to stay still, does that mean time slowed down and then they were able to fight for like, you know, just an entire day to them? It's just weird to think that the days would have been shorter back then. That's really strange to think about. Then Joshua returned with all Israel to the camp of Gilgal. So, 5 Amorite kings killed. Now, the 5 kings had fled and hidden in the cave of Makkedah. When Joshua was told the 5 kings had been found hiding in the cave of Makkedah, he said, "Roll large rocks up the mountain of the cave and post some men there to guard it. But do not stop. Persuade your enemies, attack them from the rear, and do not let them reach their cities, for the Lord your God has given them into your hand." So Joshua and the Israelites defeated them completely, but a few survivors managed to reach their fortified cities. The whole army then returned safely to Joshua in the camp at Makkedah, and no one uttered the words against the Israelites. Joshua said, "Open the mouth of the cave and bring those 5 kings out to me." So they brought 5 kings out of the cave, the king of Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, and Eglon. When they had brought the kings to Joshua, he summoned all the men of Israel and said to the army commanders who had come with him, "Come and put your feet on the necks of these kings." So they came forward and placed their feet on their necks. Joshua said to them, "Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. Be strong and courageous. This is what the Lord will do to all of the enemies you are going to fight." Then Joshua put the king to death and exposed their bodies on 5 poles, and they were left hanging on the poles until evening. At sunset, Joshua gave the order, and they took down from the poles and threw them into the cave where they had been hiding. At the mouth of the cave, they placed large rocks, which are there to this day. All right. Southern cities conquered. So, they basically raided this cave and took the whole cave out. So, southern cities conquered. That day, Joshua took Makkedah. He put the city and its king to the sword and totally destroyed everyone in it. He left no survivors, and he did to the king of Makkedah as he had done to the king of Jericho. Then Joshua and all Israel with him moved on from Makkedah to Libnah and attacked it. The Lord also gave the city and its king into Israel's hands. The city and everyone in Joshua put to the sword. He left no survivors there, and he did its king as he had done to the king of Jericho. Then Joshua and all Israel with him moved on from Libnah and Lachish. He took up positions against it and attacked it. Then the Lord gave Lachish into Israel's hands, and Joshua took it on the second day. The city and everyone in it put to the sword, just as he had done to Libnah. Meanwhile, Hiram, king of Gezer, had come up to help Lachish, but Joshua defeated him and his army until no survivors were left. Then Joshua and all the Israelites with him moved on from Lachish to Eglon. They took up positions against it and attacked it. They captured it that same day and put it to the sword and totally destroyed everyone in it, just as they had done to Lachish. Then Joshua and all Israel with him went up from Eglon to Hebron and attacked it. They took the cities and put it to the sword, together with its kings, its villages, and everyone in it. They left no survivors, just as at Eglon. They totally destroyed it and everyone in it. Then Joshua and all Israel with him turned around and attacked Debris. They took the city, its king, and its village, and put them to the sword. Everyone in it they totally destroyed. They left no survivors. They did to Debrai and its king, as they had done to Libnah and its king, and to Hebron. So Joshua subdued the whole region, including the hill country of Negev, the western foothills, and the mountain slopes, together with all their kings. He left no survivors. He totally destroyed all who breathed, just as the Lord, the God of Israel, had commanded. Joshua subdued them from Kadesh Barnea to Gaza, and from the whole region of Goshen and Gibeon. All these kings and their lands Joshua conquered in one campaign, because the Lord, the God of Israel, fought for Israel. Then Joshua returned with all Israel to the camp of Gilgal. So this is intense. I like these kind of stories because I just read through it faster. I feel so comfortable reading through it. Like, the Bible has made me a lot better at reading, honestly. My ADHD is went down, unless it's early in the morning. Now I still struggle. But I'm really enjoying the story that they're telling here about how Joshua's just going in and rolling over everybody and wiping out every single king because it's what God wanted him to do. That's pretty amazing and intense to begin with, and I like it. I actually really enjoy this story. It's not as good as Moses' story, but I still enjoy what I'm reading here, and I like the fact that each of these armies is going in and wiping out the kings because they were trying to get land, but not only were they trying to get land, but these are the things God wanted wiped out, because God was just tired of things at the time. So it's just really cool. It's just really cool to sit there, and going back to this thing with the sun, where the sun stood still over Gibeon, and the moon didn't come back up. That's pretty awesome to begin with. It makes me wonder if it still makes me wonder how short were the days back then if the sun stood still like that. Because think about it, it had to be some shorter days, because if the sun, if you look at it, if the sun stopped, okay, and it took 24 hours for the moon to, not 24 hours, but a whole day, all right, that means it would be days that back then would have been 6 hours and 6 hours, which means we would have 6 hours a day, 6 hours a night, okay? Now, think about it this way. We're on a 24-hour basis, so we have 12 hours in a day and 12 hours at night now. So that'd be wild to think about, that you only get a certain amount of hours in a day. Of course, back then, they didn't have many things to do on their free time, and back then, think about it. They were out there doing work. We're not out there doing work. We're not out there doing hard work, hard yard work. And I will say this: if at some point, like, if I, if like at some point, if I ever end up getting married and have children and have a family, I will not be on the internet very much. I'd be spending time with those guys, and I'd be out there doing yard work and working the old-fashioned way, getting my hands dirty, because that's what real men are supposed to do. We're supposed to be out there farming. We're supposed to be out there doing the hard yard work. We're supposed to be, we're supposed to build muscle mass that way. Going to the gym and stuff like that is great, but I prefer like doing hard yard work, because that's my property then. That's me taking care of my property. But like, I'm not, we live in a world, we got things so easy. Think about how long the days were back then. If he stopped the sun for like an entire day, just think about how that reset itself. So it would increase to like 12 hours per day instead of 6 hours per day. So think about that. That's really wild to think about. All right. Northern Kings defeated. Chapter 11. When Jaban, king of Hazor, heard of this, he sent word to Jabab, king of Madon, to the king of Shimron and Ashkabah, and to the northern kings who were in the mountains in the Arabah, south of Kinnereth, in the western foothills, and in Nepahath, door on the west to the Canaanites, in the east and west to the Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites, and Jebusites in the hill country, and to the Hivitites below Hermon in the region of Zimpah. They came out with all their troops and a large number of horses and chariots, a huge army, as numerous as the sand on the sea shore. All the kings joined forces and made camp together at the at the waters of Merom to fight against Israel. The Lord said to Joshua, "Do not be afraid of them, because this time tomorrow I will hand them to the slain over to Israel. I will hand all of them over to Israel. You are to hamstring their horse and burn their chariots." So Joshua and his whole army came against them suddenly at the water of Merom and attacked them, and the Lord gave them into the hand of Israel. They defeated them and pursued them all the way to Greater Sidon and Mesperath, Maam, and to the valley of Mesfath on the east, until no survivors were left. Joshua did to them as the Lord had directed. Thank you, Leroy. As the Lord had directed, he hamstrung their horse and burned their chariots. At the time, Joshua turned back and captured Hazor and put its king to the sword. Hazor had been the head of the kingdoms. Everyone in it they put to the sword. They totally destroyed them, not sparing anyone that breathed, and he burned Hazor itself. Joshua took all the royal cities and their kings and put them to the sword. He totally destroyed them, as Moses, the servant of the Lord, had commanded. Yet Israel did not burn any of the cities built on their mounts, except Hazor, which Joshua burned. The Israelites carried off for them all the plunder and livestock of these cities, but all the people they put to the sword until they completely destroyed them. No sparing not sparing any one that breathed, as the Lord commanded his servant Moses. So Moses commanded Joshua, and Joshua did it. He left nothing undone for all the Lord commands, for all that the Lord commands Moses. So Joshua took his entire land, the hill country, all the Negev, the whole region of Geshon, the western foothills of Arahab, and the mountains of Israel, with their foothills from Mount Kala, Mount Haka, which rise towards Sireh and Baal-gad, in the valley of Laban, below Mount Hermon. He captured all their kings and put them to death. Joshua waged war against all these kings for a long time, except for the Hivitites living in Gibeon. Not one city made a treaty of peace with the Israelites, who took them all in battle, for it was the Lord himself who hardened their hearts to wage war against Israel, so that he might destroy them, totally exterminating them without mercy, as the Lord had commanded Moses. At the time Joshua went and destroyed the Anakites from the hill country, from Hebron, Debri, and Anab, from all the hill country of Judah, and from all the hill country of Israel. Joshua totally destroyed them and their towns. No Anakites were left in the Israelites' territory. Not only in Gaza, Gath, and Ashdod did any survive. So Joshua took the entire land, just as the Lord had directed him, Moses, and gave it as an inheritance to Israel, according to the tribal division. Then the land had rest from war. So, man, Joshua was wiping everybody out. So, think about that. Joshua just, literally went and wiped out a bunch of kings. And then, on top of it, he wiped out the whole entire land, and there's nobody living there anymore outside the Israelites. The Israelites were pushed into this by God, and so they were following God. And notice how he said there, God had heart. Notice how they said there, God had hardened the hearts of people so they could do this work. That happens to me sometimes. My heart will be hardened, and it puts me in some rough situations sometimes. But it's all for a good purpose. If your heart ever gets hardened and you're angry about something, and you bring it up, and it's the Lord speaking through you to prove a point, whether it be going off on people. What happens with me is when my heart gets hardened, it's because somebody kept disrespecting me. Like this morning, I woke up and I went off on somebody because they sent me a horrible picture to my Discord. No offense, but I had to let them know how I felt about it. So I said some not so nice things to them, but it was in moderation. It wasn't extremely bad. But I went off on them and I said, I told you before not to do this, and here you are again doing this. Why are you doing this to me? And that's how I get sometimes. I'm not doing it intentionally, and it's not when I see stuff that I don't like, or God doesn't like, God will harden my heart and be like, okay, it's time for you to roar. That's literally what he does. He soups you up and gets you ready to go off on people when he needs you to. And that's part of the problem with a lot of us is the trolls aren't getting me now. They're not getting me anymore, man. They're briefly getting me still, but it's not as bad as it used to be. When people troll me, it's very, very little now. I've been pointing out a lot of stuff lately that if you go over to Facebook Reels, I'm not trolling this, but if you go over to Facebook Reels, it's you basically, I can't tell if people are actually like that or they're trolling. But sometimes it's just it's too much to watch. And so it's I don't like watching it, but I'll be back later on tonight watching it on Kick for you guys, so that way you guys can check it out. But at the end of the day, it's you can sit down and watch it. And you can see why the world is so weird how it is, because it just there's something about it that really, really, you can see that people are just their souls are just dying inside and they need saved. You can literally see that. But let's go on with chapter 12. List of defeated kings, chapter 12. These are the kings of the land whom the Israelites had defeated and whose territory they took over east of the Jordan, from the Giron George to Mount Hermon, including all the eastern sides of Arabah. Shion, king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon. He ruled from Aroer, or the rim of Aaron, George, from the middle of George to the Jacob River, which is the border of the Ammonites. This is the cloud of half of Gilead. He also ruled over the eastern Arabah, from the Sea of Gilead to the Sea of Arabah. That is the Dead Sea. To Beth Jesmoth, and then eastward or southward, below the slope of Pisgah, and the territory of Og, king of Bashan, one of the last of the Rephaites who reigned in Asheroth of Erid. He ruled over Mount Hermon, Selka, all of Bashan, to the border of the people of Geshur and Makkah, and half of Gilead to the border of Heshon, king of Heshbon. Moses, the servant of the Lord, and the Israelites conquered them, and Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave them their land, to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh to be their possessions. Here's a list of the kings of the land that Joshua and the Israelites conquered on the west side of Jordan, from Baal-Gad in the valley of Lebanon to Mount Halak, which rise towards Seir. Joshua gave their lands as an inheritance to the tribe of Israel according to their tribal divisions. The land included the hill country, the western foothills, and Arabah, the mountain slopes, and the wilderness, and the Negev. These were the lands of the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, Jebusites. These were the kings. The king of Jericho, 1. The king of Ai, near Bethel, 1. King of Jerusalem, 1. King of Hebron, 1. King of Jarmuth, 1. King of Lachish, 1. King of Elgon, 1. King of Gezer, 1. King of Debrai, 1. King of Gedar, 1. King of Hormah, 1. King of Arad, 1. King of Libnah, 1. King of Adullam, 1. King of Makkedah, 1. King of Bethel, 1. King of Tapu, 1. King of Heper, 1. King of Pek, 1. King of Lashron, 1. King of Madon, 1. King of Hazor, 1. King of Shimron, Miron, 1. King of Akpesh, 1. King of Tanakh, 1. King of Migdo, 1. King of Kadesh, 1. King of Jechanim of Carmel, 1. King of Dor and Naphath Dor, 1. King of Gemoy in Gilead, 1. King of Toraz, 1. 31 kings in all. So Joshua's team, and we're on to chapter 13. So Joshua's team took out like 31 kings. And think about how many armies those kings have and how big those armies were. And it's incredibly insane to think that like that was all through the power of God and how powerful God actually is. God helped them through the work. God led them through all this, and they were brave enough to go through it without even anybody actually getting hurt or like, well, people got hurt, but it wasn't Joshua's side. It was the side that was like they were trying to take the land from them, because all God wanted was to like he's been what this is I can see this as God like wiping out land to put people in those pieces of land that are more righteous with God than we have going than what they had going on. So, all right, land still to be taken. Chapter 13. Joshua had grown old. The Lord said to him, "Now you are now very old, and there are still very large areas of land to be taken over. This is the land of that remains all the regions of the Philistines of Geshurites from the Shishor River on the east of Egypt to the territory of Ekron on the north. All of it counted as the Canaanites though held by the 5 Philistine rulers of Gaza, Ashdod, Ashkenaz, Gath, and Ekron, the territory of the Hivites on the south, all the land of the Canaanites from Arah, from Sidonian, of the Sidonian, as far as the Aphek, and the border of the Amorites, the area of Byblos, and all Laban to the east from Baal-gad, below Mount Hermon, and Lebo Hamath. As for all the inhabitants of the mountain region, from Laban of Misroth, Mamai, that is all the Sidonians I myself drive them out before the Israelites. Be sure to allocate this land to Israel for an inheritance, as I have instructed you, and divide it as an inheritance among the 9 tribes and half tribes of Manasseh. Division of the land east of the Jordan. On the other half of Manasseh, the Reubenites and Gadites had received the inheritance that Moses had given them east of Jordan, as the servants of the Lord, had assigned to them. It extended from Arar on the rim of Arnon, George, and from the town in the middle of the George, which included whole plateau of Midaba, as far as the Dibon, and all the towns of Shion, king of the Amorites, who ruled in Heshbon, out of the border of the Ammonites. It also included Gilead, the territory of the people of Geshur, and Makkah, all of the Mount Hermon, and Bashan, as far as the Selka, that is the whole kingdom of Og, and Bashan, who had reigned in Ashroth of Edred. He was the last of the Rephaites. Moses defeated them and taken over the land. But the Israelites did not drive out of the people of Geshur and Makkah, so they continued to live among the Israelites to this day. But to the tribe of Levi he gave no inheritance, since the food offerings presented to the Lord, the God of Israel, are their inheritance as he promised them. This is what Moses had given to the tribe of Reuben according to its clans, the territory from Arar on the rim of Arnon, George, and from the town in the middle of the George, and the whole plateau past Middab to Heshbon, and all the towns on the plateau, including Dibon, Bamoth, Bethbal, Menon, Jazah, Kedemoth, Methvath, Kiramath, Sibham, Zereth, Sharah, on the hill in the valley, Bethpira, the slope of Beshgah, and Beth Jeshemoth, all the towns on the plateau in the entire realm of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who ruled Heshbon. Moses had defeated him and Midianite chief Iv and Rechem, Zur, Hur, and Reba, prince allies with Shihon, who lived in that country. In addition to all the slain in battle, the Israelites had put to the sword Balaam, son of Beor, who practiced divination. The boundary of the Reubenites was the bank of the Jordan. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the Reubenites according to their clans. This is what Moses had given to the tribe of Gad according to its clans: the territory of Jazer, all the towns of Gilead, and half the Ammonites country as far as Eror, near Radah, and from Heshbon to Ramath, Mesphah, and Benatum, and Menahem, to the territory of Debri, and the valley Beth Haram, Beth Nimrah, Sakath, Zasphod, the rest of the realm, and Sihon, king of Heshbon, the east side of Jordan, the territory up to the end of the sea of Gilead. These towns and villages were the inheritance of Gadites, according to their clans. This is what Moses had given to half the tribes of Manasseh. This is to half the family of the descendants of Manasseh, according to its clans. The territory extending to the Menhanim, and including all of Bashan, the entire realm of Og, king of Bashan, all the settlements of Gerar, Bashan, 60 towns, half of Gilead, and Ashroth of Edred, the royal cities of Og, Bashan. This was the descendants of Machir, son of the Manasseh, for half of the sons of Machir, according to their clans. This is the inheritance Moses had given when he was in the plains of Moab across the Jordan, east to Jericho. But to the tribe of Levi, Moses had given no inheritance to the Lord God. Lord, the God of Israel, is the inheritance as he promised them. All right, so that's done. We went all the way to chapter 14. As you can see, that Joshua just had incredible luck. Oh, not luck. Had God on his side in a big way. Because he's still taking out land. But even the Lord said, you're getting too old. And all that. So boy, we're actually flowing through this pretty good. So I'll be reading 4 chapters again tomorrow. And then 4 chapters the day after tomorrow. Yeah. Pretty much done already. Wow. Yep. We flew through that book. But yeah. So, what time is it right now? Oh, wow. Okay. So we got 15 minutes. Good timing. All right. So we can talk a little bit. Yeah, as I said earlier, I've been looking at some things online, and I'm not lying about some of this stuff. Some of this stuff you can just look at and see, quite frequently. I've been bringing up scenarios in here that I see take place in effect through other people or events I see on the internet of people that I follow. Now, I when I look at the stuff, it's more like to see exactly, when I look at it, it's because I see a lot of it all at once. And when I see a lot of something all at once, it really, really does make me like feel like, okay, is this why things are the way they are? And so like a lot of people pick on me for the theory everything just comes back to anime, but when you look at it, okay, when you look at anime culture, it leads to things like cosplay. What does cosplay do? You know, cosplay is one of those things that it attracts young human beings. It attracts like teenagers. The teenagers are out there literally doing cosplay, you know, and so like you know, as an adult, it's like, should we really be doing that kind of stuff, or and I understand loving the video game community, but I think I'm at the point now where the video game community is just not something I want to be a part of anymore. I've proved that by coming over and doing a Bible channel. I'm more impressed with the outcome of the Bible channel, and I get a lot of positive comments, but then again, I also get a lot of negative comments here because people that come here, they watch and they'll say something like, you know, if you look at the comment section, you can see what I mean. That there's always somebody out there saying some really, really, over the top spiritual stuff that they like. When I first started, again, I had somebody into astrology come in here, and I basically had to keep telling him, this is not astrology. I don't know where you got that from. But the way I look at it is like I'm out here doing my own thing, and I get more respect doing this, and I can even sit there and pull it up for you again because I do it all the time. But the age range for the Bible channel is a lot different than the age range for the other channel I have. The other channel I have is, it was video game for a little bit, and then it changed up, and now I'm talking about other subjects related back to video gaming. Well, not video gaming, but like people their age in general, like trying to state, like trying to show messages out there to all of us now. Love your hobbies by all means. Love your hobbies, enjoy your hobbies. If it's gaming, enjoy gaming. Okay, but I'm gonna say this. Certain points of gaming actually does, certain points of gaming is a bit touchy and it's a bit of a weird subject because if you go out, okay, so let's just say you promote gaming, all right, and you go and you look at the age range of people in your application, which you can technically find out the age range of people that come in and watch your content. Now, that's a very, very touchy area because if you're promoting that content to younger people, you're gonna try to promote messages to younger people, and then you're gonna try to portray yourself as a young person, and it's unfortunate because the content creators that are doing their job. It really I look at it like this. If I a lot of these I said it earlier, there's a lot of wannabe gamers stepping into the video game community. I saw a bunch of, I even said it on the rail today. Like I saw a bunch of women gamers, okay, and all of them look like they were fake. They all look, and it's it's projecting a message that you're still trying to look in your youth when you're like 30 some years old, like me. You know, I try not to project that I'm in my youth, but there's certain things like this shirt that really projects that message off to people. And so, you know, I'm not saying anybody's out there doing anything wrong by all means, but you gotta look at what you're bringing into your content, and do you want to, you know, I'll marry a 30. I would be okay with marrying a 30-year-old woman as long as she's okay with doing that. But there's gonna be a point in a line where I'm gonna be like, look, these are all really people that are too young for you to be even communicating with. You need to rethink this. You need to rethink your career path a little bit and change it up. You know, and that's why I enjoy coming over to the Bible channel more, and that's why I always post to the Bible channel more than anything, because the gaming channel just doesn't work for me. I will admit I'm a bit too old to be concerned with the video game community, even though I love hearing some of the news coming out of it. Like, even back when I was streaming on a daily basis for video games, it just never worked in my favor. I would have like, I have more people here than I had watching my video game stream in the morning, and that's saying something about it. And most of the video game community is a bunch of rotten kids that were rotten when they were 16 years old. That's all it really is they haven't, I hate to say it, but video gamers haven't exactly matured since they got older. They're still stuck in a mindset of sitting at home all day and getting the free time to play the games. As a content creator, when you do that, that's the message you're projecting. And it's really hard for me to say it here because I know there's people I watch that, you know, like I look at people like Miss Click. She's in her late 20s and she decided to have a child. She's changed since that, you know? So I look at it that way, as a gamer, and well, as I'm still partly a gamer, but it's like it's not the crowd of people I want to be hanging out with anymore because it's projecting the wrong message, it's projecting the wrong crowd. Look, we've all seen incidences online where we attract the wrong crowd because we're doing something on the internet that looks weird, and so it projects the wrong message. And that's not to go and insult anybody by all means, but at 30 some years old, I don't know how I even feel about it. I get a little sketchy about it too myself because it's like, you know, um yeah, am I supposed to be doing this? you know, and I look at it this way, you know, if this is what you do as a job, you might want to reconsider trying to change up your content a little bit and getting a little bit more serious with your content. You know, I know people get views and clicks off of video game content, but it's rough because it's also projecting a message of it's putting a message out there that people can legitimately pick on you because they think your IQ is too low for your age and stuff like that. And this isn't direct insult towards anybody. There's a couple gamers out there that I look at that, I even see where they're coming from, and it's just hard. It's just like, okay, so I don't get involved with politics. This is the only thing I do in my free time besides like paying my bills and browsing people's content. I love watching other people's content. That's why I said it's very hard for me to talk about this here because some people they have amazing content. They work in the video game community. But the time has come also that has dawned on me. This has just dawned on me that I'm at a point now where like, do I really want to keep talking about video games at this point? Do I want to be known as that guy on the internet, or do I want to be known as a guy talking about something much different than video gaming, much more adult than video gaming? Just something to think about. I'm not insulting anybody out there that does video game content, but Miss Click said this, and it really stood out to me when she said it. She's like, "Do I really want my legacy to be video gaming? Do I really want to be known as a video gamer online as I get older, or do I want my legacy to be about my family and things such as that?" She actually said that, and that stuck out to me. And it's like that kind of was the point that pushed me to realize that maybe it was time for me to change things up. Maybe it was time for me to not worry about this stuff back here as much. This stuff's great, but as I'm getting older, I start to realize that there's more important things in life that I want. And if it isn't dawning on you and you make video game content, you should be thinking about that yourself. Do you want your legacy to go down as a video gamer? Do you really want that as your legacy? Or and take that to your grave? Or do you want to go to your grave knowing you made a life for yourself? You got into a relationship, you got into a marriage, you pushed the power of God onto people, which is an incredible feeling to begin with. But again, like, think about your legacy and what will be known of you after you pass on. Like, and that's something that when Miss Click said that really stuck out to me. Now, if you don't know who Miss Click is, she was in the video game community pretty big back then, but she had recently, in the past, like I'd say a year, she has a child and she has a family now, so she doesn't even show up to Spawncast every weekend. And that really, really stuck out to me. And I was like, I really want to be doing stuff like that. I want to be doing stuff that's more related to being an adult instead of, my legacy being part of the video game community. And that really, really stuck out to me. So at this point, I want to say to people out there that are in their 30s, look, if you're producing video game content and you're enjoying that, fine. But just think about what your legacy is going to be when think about your legacy from here on out, and think about how things are going right now, and think about the crowd of people you're trying to promote to. Do you want to be like that, or do you want your legacy to be a lot different? When Miss Click said that, that was the one thing that stood out to me that she said that was like, she is fucked. She is, she, Lord, forgive me. I almost slipped, but please forgive me. She's right. She's right. It stood out to me as she's absolutely right. I don't want my legacy going down as a video gamer, so I kind of transitioned out. And what I'm doing now, if you go over to my other YouTube channel, is I'm trying to put messages out there that, like, it's time for some of us to just grow up and grow away from video gaming. We can still be video gamers and we can play on our free time, but we can't do it as much because we're at an age now where we're supposed to, like, I live on my own and I pay my bills and stuff like that. But what I'm trying to say here is, like, it's time for us to go out into the world, seek people we want to be in a relationship, and build families. Time for that kind of stuff, you know? So I know it's hard for some of us to let it sink in, but Miss Click was right when she said that. She was absolutely right. Like, there's a few people that are older, a few years, like a year or so older than me, and it's like, when she said that, it dawned on me that, like, it's time for people to start that are older now, that we're stuck in the video game community. It's time for us to just change and move on with our lives. I don't want my legacy going to the grave of being, like, being a video gamer. If I go to the grave, at least I know I pushed this out into the world. And one day it's gonna lead me to better things. I'm gonna get blessings. But I created this whole room based on the fact that I was trying to get into the video game community myself. And it dawned on me after she said that, like, when she said, do you want your legacy to be about gaming, or do you want it to be about more personal things, and do you want to go to your grave like that? And that was something that really, really, she spoke volume to me when she said that. And anybody who missed that, that's something that, anybody that missed that, go and check it. It's on her Twitter profile. If I could pull it up, I would. But she said that about, I want to say a couple months ago, back when, like, I forget, it was a couple months ago that she actually said that, and that really, really spoke volume to me. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's why I don't do gaming content much anymore. My legacy relies more on me talking about more adult situations at this point, and more relationship issues, and me, myself, just trying to seek a relationship, and finding that woman to give a baby to, and having a family, as opposed to me worrying about what's going on in the video game community. We get too old for that at some point, and these are things that I want. This is the life I want to go. This is the life I want to go out of the world with, and if I can make that happen, I'd be happy. And that's why I sit here and read this, because I know that's going to lead me to this. Blessings are going to come my way. But it's the point where, when you see somebody say something that really, really strikes you, that was the turning point for me. And that should have been a turning point for a lot of people who actually follow her. She said it. And she said it because she had a kid. Now, I had my fair share of issues back in the day, and I'm, like, kind of away from them now. Just understand that what I do from here on out, there won't be much video gaming here anymore, because I'm not fully involved in it anymore, and it gets expensive after a while. By all means, that's why I'm over here doing what I'm doing now, just because I needed to find something that was worth. I needed to find something that was worth promoting into the world, and the Bible was the one thing that really stuck out to me, and I could thank also Melanie Mack for that one. So, again, think about it this way. After you're done listening to this stream, you have 4 people that are here right now. Now, we're 6. Think about, after you leave this stream, or after I get out of here, think about what you want your life to be about. You're not getting younger. Some of us are almost in our 40s right now. Do you really want to go out of this world with the legacy of video gaming and be known as a video gamer? Or do you want to be known as something else? Something to think about. And maybe that'll set with you, and maybe you'll start realizing and let it dawn on you that you want more important things in life. Because I sure do. And, you know, at the end of the day, the moment I actually end up finding a significant other and have a family, I probably won't even be doing this as much. I'll still be reading the Bible to you, but this won't be as much. You know, the only reason I did this is because on my days I'm free, off, I don't have much to do. That's why I'm here doing it for you guys. So again, let that sink in after you get out of here. Write it down or something. Look at the message and be like, what do I want to do with my life from here on out? Because video games isn't something somebody should be wanting to do their whole entire life unless they are actually creating video games. You know, I can understand why some people say in a video game community, if you're making video games, by all means, do your craft. But if you're not making video games and your stuff is about, you know, you're like, just question that after you get out of here, because that's something that really needs to be thought about. All right, and with that said, guys, let's pray and get out of here. And I'll be seeing you guys later on tonight. I'll be doing a stream. I'll be coming back in a couple hours streaming. We'll be looking at some goofy reels here on the channel. I'll get away with saying more. YouTube wasn't the best place for it, but just come back here later on the night, you guys on Kick, and check me out. I'll be back like around 11, 10 at night for mine. 6 o'clock for me right now. So let me go ahead and pray. All right, Lord Jesus Christ, I pray to you tonight to let it dawn on the people that we're not getting younger, and that like there's a time right now where people need to start thinking about their life and thinking about their legacy, what they want to know, what they want to be known for, and what they want to do. Lord, let it sit on their heart and let them think about what it is they want to do with their life, Lord, because I know a lot of people are at their like later points of their life, well, in the mid-age range, and you just you know, let people sit on that and think, and put a message in your head, letting them know what they want to do, Lord, because I know what I want to do, and you've sent that message to me numerous times. I need to reach out to that person. Unfortunately, it gets hard at times, but Lord, I have faith in you, and we'll get there. But Lord, anyway, send that out to people, make them aware that it's time for people it's time to start dawning on people. And I think what's going on with me is the Bible has made me mature and change in some ways. So Lord, I pray to you. I pray to you. I'm happy you did that for me, Lord. I needed that. I needed that reality. Lord, if you could bless me and bless the people that need blessed. Lord, also bless Melanie Mack, bless Brittany Venti. They both need you as always. Lord, bless whatever it is they want. Also, Lord, bless people who really are struggling to find out what they want to do in life, and bless them with that message, Lord. Bless them with that message. And Lord, by all means, you gave me the path and you told me to do what I'm supposed to do. So I'm going to try to make this into my legacy and go out of the world this way, you know, and I'll continue to do your work, Lord. And just continue to raise the channel up, bring the channel to a point where a lot of people can watch it, Lord. Also, I pray that you help people understand that it's, we're all changing, we're all growing up. Some of us are getting too old to worry about social media to that level, that I think it's time for it to dawn on people that we need to change a little bit. So Lord, if you can, promote that message to them, and Lord, also just bless everybody, put some light in their life, put a barrier of protection around them. In Jesus' name, amen. So there you go. There you have it, guys. I'll be back later on tonight with another stream, a more goofier one. You're gonna actually see me react, because I can drop real curse words and stuff like that. So if you're okay with me cursing up a storm, or stating how much I don't like a girl even though she's cute, come and watch that. You'll see what I mean. All right. Anyway, guys, take it easy, and God bless you. And I'll be seeing you next time. And also, let that message I just said to you, what do you want your legacy to be? Think about that outside of here, and I'll be seeing you next time.